right.
This is Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16.
Right.
And he causeth all.
Salaki, start at 15.
And he had power to give life into the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right, and that's what we're going through right now. That's going to be part of our temptation that's coming up, is if you're willing to die for the Lord as he sent his son to die for you, being a Jake, so-called Negro, Latino, or Native Indian. Keep going.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Right, now what does that mark mean? We were dealing with this bugged out Jake last week. We go into the etymology of words. The Hebrew word, it's like a Greek word because it's in New Testament. The Greek word will be exactly like the brother said, charagma, which would mean like a incision or an implant, if you know what I mean. Yeah, a physical mark. It's not talking about like a seal.
Somebody branding,
right?
Say property,
right? Was there anything that?
This is.
And they got the NFC chip too. So don't think that's anything different overseas. That NFC chip, it's the same shit.
It's like they got this like some tattoo type shit. Like tattoo. They got going on too. Right. So it says.
They pushing it. They're pushing it.
This is verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Right, so you won't be able to buy or sell unless you got that chip. So is you willing to endure hard times, such as why we tell our brothers we should be fasting right now, and this, because you want to get your body prepared for what's coming. I mean, there's going to be a lot of, you ain't going to have the access to everything that you got now, such as being able to use the toilet, have tissue at your expense. You ain't going to be able to have food and water at your expense, as you can come to these stores, because these stores going to be empty. And so basically you're going to have to live off the land and live off the faith that the Lord provides. All right, get that in Revelations 14 and 9.
So good.
Preaching about your downfall, man.
What's that?
Preaching about the downfall of America, man. So what?
Prophesying the destruction of America.
Get that from me, all right? Revelation 14 and 9.
This is Revelations chapter 14, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God.
The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God if you receive that chip. And what's the wrath of God? Keep going, is there some more on there for me?
Yes. Which is poured out without mixture into the cup of indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels.
Now, what's that fire and brimstone? Can you get that in Malachi 4:1 for me, please?
All right, Malachi 4:1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch.
Right, you said it will leave neither root nor branch. Meaning, what do they have that's out, the powers that be have that's out right now that can basically obliterate the earth and leave neither root nor branch? And right now, many people don't know that every country on the face of this earth basically got access to nukes, nuclear devices. So with that being said, they're gonna obliterate this earth, but it's all through the power of the Lord.
If I can add something to that right quick. Hey, these countries ain't scared of America no more. You know what I'm saying? See, America was the big bad bully on the planet because they was advanced in their warfare. But now all these other countries, they have the same weapons. They have nuclear weapons. So now that's why you see North Korea, Russia, all these countries bucking up. Like, I wish you fucking would say some shit. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, if you out here and you receive either the RFID chip, which is the radio frequency identification chip, or the NFC, which is the near field communication chip, which is actually already in the smartphones and shit, but that's just a different name to try to offset prophecy that they use overseas, then you're going to drink of the wine of the wrath of the Lord, which would be basically getting nuked and obliterated by fire and brimstone. And get that in 2 Peter for me.
Okay.
Second Peter what? 2:10. 3:10.
Oh, I
You got one.
This is 2 Peter 3:10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. So basically saying, these nukes, they can melt these elements, like any elements known to man, because it's through the power of the Lord. It's the Lord's work, basically. He gonna obliterate this bitch, man. Go ahead.
This is Amos 5:18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it?
They were very dark and no brightness in it. Like he said, the stars shall not get their light, the sun shall be blotted out, and if I'm mistaken, the moon as well. Give me 2 Ezra 16 and 3. Because many people don't know the times that we're living in, and we ain't got long for real, bro. Like we working on the Lord's clock, and he don't go off of time as we do, so the 24 hours, but he goes off of prophecy, and with that being said, many people not aware of the signs of the time that we living in, such as the troops that's on the border of Syria, meaning how close we are to this World War III popping off, man. Get that for me though.
This is 2 Ezra 16:3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back?
Keep going.
A fire is set among you, and who may quench it?
Right, because it's the power of the Lord. Like he said that you cannot, no one can deliver out of my hand. Right. Meaning like he is the Alpha and Omega. He is the great and terrible God. You know what I'm saying? He also a great mercies to his chosen, but to these heathen, who, like as 2 Ezra said, who have ever been recruited as nothing, they gonna be obliterated for the basically, as it said in Babylon in Revelations, I believe it's the 18th chapter, making his own people drink the wine of Babylon. Keep going, and where he was at.
Oh shit!
I got it.
No, I can get it right back. 2 Ezra 16.
Go to verse 5.
This is 2 Ezra 15:5. Plagues are sent unto you, and what is that may and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the woods, or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it hath began to burn?
Right. Keep going.
May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer?
Right, because when you shoot an arrow, once you let go of that bow, it's over with. You can't turn it back. Same thing, which would be the modern day sword, which is a bullet. Once you pull the trigger and the bullet go, you can't change your mind after that. It's over with. Keep going.
This is 2 Ezra 16:8. The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away?
Right. He sendeth the plagues, and who is him that can drive them away? Because no one can deliver out of the hand of the Lord. Keep going.
A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence?
Right. The Lord shall threaten, who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence, because you can't look at the Lord and live with your physical eyes. That's why when Moses went up to the mountain, he had to have a veil upon his face, and he also, if I'm not mistaken, he had to face the opposite way. Well, Salakia, but he still had that veil upon his face, because you can't look at the Lord and live. And when he came down from the mountain, he had that glow upon his face, like people thought he might have been like an extraterrestrial, like an angel or something, because he was in the presence of the Lord. He had that glow.
He had that wisdom.
Yeah. Keep going.
That's why the scriptures say wisdom makes man face shine. Yeah, just like brother said, when Moses came down, he had so much wisdom, man. Your spirit shines, just like the movie. There's a movie called Watchmen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know what I'm talking about, Watchmen? The movie Watchmen.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Khan.
You know what I'm talking about? And he had that glow. One dude.
Yeah, the main one, the
main
most
one.
powerful one.
Yeah, so that's how Moses was. He had that glow. He just walked around with a glow.
Keep going up.
2nd Ezra 16 and 12, the earth quaketh and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled. And the fishes thereof also before Yahawah and before the glory of his power.
You can imagine that being like a tsunami and an earthquake at the same damn time going on, where the earthquake back and forth. And like he said in the scriptures, they shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, as well as the tsunamis being like the waves rising up. There's going to be a lot of chaos going on in these last days. Keep going.
Verse 13, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow.
Right.
His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
Because a regular arrow can't be shot from one end of the world to the other. So we got to be talking about nuke, but it's speaking in parables, which not everybody can comprehend. Keep going.
And it's also because the ancient prophets, man, they didn't know what a nuke was. So they got to go off of what they knew. And the only thing they knew that was shot off like that was an arrow, man. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth.
It shall not be put out till it consume the foundations of the earth. So if you could just imagine that, like the scripture said, there should be neither root nor branch left in this place. So picture all the trees that are still left and all the other little plants and so on and so forth. And he said this place shall not be, basically, the fire shall not be put out until it melts away the elements, you know. Keep going.
Verse 16, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days?
That's what people, they start getting the lowly of spirit. He said, fear not, because his people shall be saved. I'm going to have somebody get that in Zechariah in a minute. Get that from me in Jeremiah. Well, get that one in Revelation real quick first.
Yeah, and that's also, it also shows you about reincarnation, man, because that's Ezra saying, woe is me, who's going to save me in those days? You know, this is talking about the end. So Ezra's knew through the Spirit he'll be here, man, you know. You want me to keep going?
This is Revelation chapter 9, and I'm going to start at 15, 14. Saying the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loosed the four angels, which were bound in the great river Euphrates.
Right.
And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000.
Right.
And I heard the number of them.
200,000, that's 200 million nukes. That's supposed to hit Babylon all over.
And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone.
Right.
And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions.
Right.
And out of their mouths
Now stop right there, because he said the heads of
lions.
Oh, the heads of lions, basically. So if you was to look directly at the nuke, you'll see the fire being shot off from the back, and it look like the lion's mane. Keep going. And that head is what you call a warhead too. Yeah, that too. Call that a warhead.
It says,
inside the nuke itself.
and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone.
Right.
By these three was the third part of men killed by the fire, by the smoke, by the brimstone which was issued out of their mouths.
Right.
It says, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. So on the back of the missiles, how it got the little things to where they could control where the missile go, like little flaps, like an airplane. So that's where it's talking about their backs being like serpents, where it's a shift and turn where it needs to go.
Get that other one for me in Jeremiah.
This is Jeremiah, chapter 11, verse 10. They are turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, which refused to hear my words.
Right.
And they went after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken the covenant which I made with their forefathers.
Right. And that's why we dwelling where we at now at the bottom of the totem pole, being the lowest of the heathen. Keep going.